Hey y'all! Today I'm going to be doing another Top 5 Wednesday video. This series was created by Ginger Reads Laney, and I will leave a link down in the description to her channel as well as to the Goodreads group. This week's topic is top 5 books that take place in your country / area / region. So it's actually kind of hard to choose books for this list because I go to school in Tennessee and there aren't really a ton of books that I've read that take place in Tennessee. So I had to kind of broaden my horizons and choose books that are set in places close to Tennessee, so from neighboring states and areas. I also chose some books from places where I used to live because I've kind of lived in the middle of the United States my entire life, so even those settings are fairly close to Tennessee. And once again, rather than ranking this list from my favorite to my least favorite, I will be ranking from furthest from me to closest to me. Starting off my list, we have To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. And what a fitting time to be talking about this book, because it's been getting a lot of buzz lately because Harper Lee is writing the sequel. I think she's about, like 50 years late, but to each their own. To Kill a Mockingbird takes place in Alabama, which is a neighboring state to Tennessee. It's not super close to where I am in Tennessee, but it is one of its neighboring states, and therefore it is fairly close. Next up on the list is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. So this book takes place in many different parts of the United States, but the main setting is in Missouri, which is just one state away from Tennessee. This is a book that I feel like I appreciated more than enjoyed. It really kept me guessing right up until she revealed the truth and the plot twist, and I really enjoyed that, but after that point, I wasn't quite as intrigued with it, I guess. And I don't think I would probably reread this book, mostly because a lot of the enjoyment for me came from trying to figure out what was going on and wanting to learn the truth, and so that now that I know what happens, I'm not sure I would really enjoy rereading it. However, this is a really well-constructed book, and it did really keep me guessing up until the big reveal. I was going back and forth as to what was going on. Book number 3 on the list is Holes by Louis Satcher. Holes takes place somewhere in Texas. I'm not exactly where. I could look it up, I guess, but I'm lazy. I will look it up. Okay, so I couldn't find the exact setting in Texas other than the fictional Camp Green Lake, but it does take place in Texas, which is actually where I lived all throughout high school. So even though there probably are some books on my shelves that are physically closer to Tennessee, I used to live in Texas, and so it holds a special place in my heart, and that's why it gets the 3rd spot. Kind of along the same thought process as Holes, at number 2 I have The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. I spent the first 10 years of my life living in Kansas, and so this book was very prominent in my childhood, and I have always really enjoyed it. I got this really pretty edition fairly recently, and now I feel the need to reread it because it's been a really long time since I read it. Honestly, the last time I read it was probably when I was still living in Kansas, like when I was younger than 10. And coming in at number 1 on my list is The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. Now, The Lightning Thief kind of takes place all over the United States, but they do stop in to Tennessee. One of the places they end up stopping in at on their road trip across the United States is the Parthenon recreation in Nashville. And even though I don't live in Nashville, that is definitely the closest setting to where I live. And I've only read the first 3 books of the Percy Jackson series because those were the only ones that were out when I actually started it. So I really need to just go through and reread those 3 and get through the rest of them so that I can say that I've finished the series, and then I can jump into the spin-off series. So those are the top 5 books that take place near me. I will leave a link down in the description to my blog and to my Goodreads. Please add me as a friend on Goodreads. I'd love to be friends with all of you. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you so much for watching. Bye! So that I can say that I've finished the series, and then I can jump into the spin-off series, which is called The Heroes of Olympus. Now that I have stopped talking, now I know that it's called Heroes of Olympus. Of course.